What happens when a group of ordinary colonists transforms into a daring army, only to end up fighting themselves in the dead of night? September 10th, 1775, near Fort St. John's in Quebec Province, offers an unforgettable answer. Imagine colonial troops, fresh from a month of being farmers, merchants and trappers, are now soldiers of the Continental Army advancing in darkness to liberate another colony. They move silently through the swampy terrain, every sound magnified by the pitch-black night. Suddenly, whispers and footsteps break the silence. Gunfire erupts. In the confusion, they realize the enemy they're fighting is themselves. General Montgomery listens to his men recount the chaotic encounter, his disappointment palpable. His proud new army, set to invade Canada, has opened its campaign by mistakenly attacking its own units. The last episode dove into the American invasion of Canada from the colonist perspective, but what about the British? Quebec's governor, Major General Guy Carleton, was acutely aware of this repeating history. The First Continental Congress had even invited Quebec to join the rebellion as the 14th colony, though no one responded. Parliament, worried about the loyalty of the largely French and Catholic population, passed the Quebec Act in 1774, allowing Catholics to practice openly and hold government positions. This strategy aimed to prevent the Canadians from welcoming the revolutionaries as liberators. Most Quebec colonists, however, hated the English settlers to the south. When Carleton called for militia volunteers, the response was tepid, leaving him with about 900 regular soldiers and a few hundred militia spread thinly across a vast territory. Desperately, he sought alliances with indigenous tribes, but most stayed neutral, waiting to see who would win. Reinforcements were months away, forcing Carleton to adopt a defensive strategy, fortifying St. John's and aiming to stop the rebels there. The Continental Army arrived outside St. John's on September 16th, led not by General Philip Schuyler, who had fallen ill, but by Brigadier General Richard Montgomery, a more experienced and capable leader. Despite his reluctance, Montgomery, a former British Army officer who had settled in the colonies only 2 years earlier, now found himself besieging a British fort. Awkwardly, Montgomery had served under Fort St. John's commanding officer in the British Army. Montgomery set about erecting breastworks and employing small cannons against the fort's walls, but his troops were vastly outgunned, forcing them to retreat and await heavier artillery. During this siege, a cannonball once blew Montgomery off his feet, yet he continued his task undeterred. Meanwhile, Benedict Arnold and his troops embarked on a grueling overland march through the Maine wilderness toward Quebec. Initially smooth, the journey soon turned harrowing. Faulty boats leaked horribly, and the food and gunpowder became soaked. The men faced sabotage. The barrels, made by a suspected loyalist, weren't watertight, and Arnold's map had been censored for civilian use. Hunger, disease, and exhaustion decimated the force, yet Arnold pressed on, refusing to turn back. As they staggered out of the woods near St. Lawrence River, the sight of the ragged men astounded onlookers. Arnold's feat was compared to Hannibal's crossing of the Alps, driven by his indomitable will. Montgomery and Arnold decided to attack under the cover of a blizzard, aiming to take Quebec despite the daunting odds. Their combined forces, united by sheer determination and a bit of madness, braved the elements and their own doubts. As they prepared for the final assault, it was clear that the fate of this audacious campaign hung by a thread. Their story is a testament to the relentless spirit and unpredictable turns of the Revolutionary War. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.